So let me see. I need it. It's 2. All right, 1, 2. All right, good. And here we go, my brothers and sisters.
This one right here is a song I did for black relationships, for the black woman, because I love the black woman. It's called So Far to Go. We have come so far, we got so far to go. Yeah, I'ma say it again. See, we have come so far, you got so far to go. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Since the day of the beginning of time, you've always been on my mind. The way you smell, the way you walk, the way we gel, the way you talk. Black woman, I love your hair, from the top of your head to all over this atmosphere, yeah. I love it, your lips, girl. I love it, your smile. I love it, your hips, flooding me like the Nile. And we have come so far, we got so far to go. See, we have come so far, but we got so far to go, baby, yeah. We have come so far, yeah, yeah, yeah. We done come too far to let this thing go. So we gotta keep moving forward. Yeah, yeah. See, we have come so far. We got so far to go. Yeah, 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 yeah. We have come so far. We got so far to go. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know it seems like a paradox. How can we go so far and we got so far to go? Yeah, yeah. You know we got history. We go way back to the glory days of our sorrow and our sin. You see, I gotta be with you. I never turn my back. Cause if I did anything less, I'd be less than black. And I'd be less than a man. See, I'd be less than a king. See, black woman, you're my lady. And for you, this song I sing. We have come so far. We got so far to go. See, we have come so far. And we got so far to go. Yeah. We have come so far. Got so far to go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We come, we got so far to go. We got so far to go. We got so far to go. I said we got so far to go. I know we got so far to go. Yeah, we got so far to go. Yeah. We have come so far, we got so far to go. No matter how many trials and tribulations we gotta keep on moving, yeah. We not gonna give up on each other. We gotta be sisters and our brothers, yeah, yeah. No, it seems like a paradox. How could we go so far? When we got so far to go, we got so far to go, yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
All right, brothers and sisters. So that's our brother Kaba Soul Singer. Want to let everybody know this is Chopping It Up Mondays. So tonight we're going to be talking every second Monday of every month. We're going to be talking about black female-male relations, the gender wars, and bringing an end to the war between the black men and women, figuring out how we can repair these issues, because everywhere I go, black men and black women alike are talking about the other gender, of all the problems we having. And obviously, on both sides, there's some things that are legitimate in terms of issues or concerns. But from the brothers, I hear, oh, it's all these good brothers. And the women are wrong. From the women I'm hearing, well, it's all these good women, and there's something wrong with the brothers. So I'm like, well, obviously there's something wrong with the whole scenario, which you will probably be able to help us today, definitely be able to help us get to the bottom of, and what we can do to fix that. So what we're doing today is going to be special, brothers and sisters. We brought in a special, very, very special person. We have a sister here who, and I'm going to get to her in just a moment to let you know, she's a doctor and has expertise in multiple fields. Just one of her many expertises is helping black male-female relationships, but she has her PhD in
psychology and as well as in pastoral counseling.
Right. So she's reached the highest level in the society of counseling, as well as psychology. So she knows how the mind works, and she understands us as black folk and what's wrong with our minds and why we can't get along. So not only is she going to be giving us the benefit of her brilliance during the course of this dialogue here today, but at 6 p.m. she's going to also come in, and Dr. Owens is going to be talking to us, helping us really talk. And we want people to come out because we want people to be able to say, hey, look, here's an issue I'm facing. What can I do? Because a lot of times people don't realize, what part they're playing in a situation or why, what they can do to make adjustments. And we need people to talk to. We don't generally go to counselors and stuff like that. We feel ashamed to go to psychological treatment and things of that nature. So today what we're going to do is we have somebody in-house who is a professional in the field and can talk to us about those kind of situations and issues. So not only is she doing that with us here in studio as our honored guest, but she's also going to do this with us this afternoon from 6 o'clock. So we want people to come in. Let's talk. Let's listen to an expert in this, a sister who's been doing this for years, a black woman who runs her own organization. She'll tell you a little bit about that. And she's doing so many things in our community. And she's so well known. Every time people that see in the flyer, like, oh, you know Dr. Owens, how do you know her? And I'm like, well, how do you know her? And I'm like, well, I must be the only one that don't know. Everybody knows her, so I'm the only one that didn't know. I felt okay today when Brother Roland was like, it was good meeting you. I was like, whoa, finally, I'm glad that somebody has met her for the first time. So,
she's not Celeste Owens, is she?
No.
So
So let me do this. I'm going to tell you the call-in number because once we get into the dialogue, I know you're going to want to call in. Call-in number is 641-715-3640. Again, that's 641-715-3640. The participation code is 948-656-pound. That's 948-656-pound. If you go on my Facebook page, Ayo Kimathi, and then it has parentheses, Irritated Genie, you'll be able to see the phone-in number and the code. I give it to you again, 641-715-3640. And the code is 948-656-pound. We're going to go here from 2 to 4 p.m., and then we're going to come back at 6 p.m. and have our sister as well. Here, I just want to show brothers and sisters, we're down here this week. For y'all that have been harassing me for these strawberry shea butters, the Straight Black Pride strawberry shea butters, I promise you, this Friday in the house, we're going to have it. I'm going to have it Tuesday, but I'm not going to be coming back in here. So I don't want you coming down on Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday, I'm out of town. On Friday, live and direct, fresh early in the morning from 11 o'clock on, you're going to have all your strawberry shea butter and the baby powder scent. We're going to have it here for you live right here at 9185 Central Avenue at Everlasting Life, the home and the mecca of black consciousness and black forward progress in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We also have my sister Malik Fashions, Al Kamar. She'll be here with Malik Fashions all the way from Tuesday through the end of the week, through Friday, so you can come check her out. Also, the first Saturday of every month, we have the summer solstice where we have the shopping bazaar, and we also encourage people to come down to Everlasting Life, 9185 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights, Maryland, 20743. Come on out and get your delicious food. Also, if you want to be on radio and interested in having your own radio program, you can come on down, reach out to Brother Roland here or Dr. Baruch, and what you'll actually be able to do there is you can get your own program. Now, I want to forewarn you. It's not you might not be quite as dynamic as Irritated Genie. I mean, I don't want you having your expectations to be too grandiose such that you'd be disappointed with it. But suffice it to say, we have the studio that is here at Everlasting Life is a world-class studio that gives you the opportunity to do things you can't do anywhere else in the world. I'm actually able to show video footage. I can also show us live. If you're on elifemedia.net right now, you're able to see how we can just go up. I can have multiple things going on at the same time. We just have incredible capacity here. And if you're interested in doing that, come on down to Everlasting Life and you can make that happen. You can make that part of your life and get you your own program that'll be broadcasting live. Also, blogtalkradio.com/SBPM. That's blogtalkradio.com/SBPM. Straight Black Pride Movement. That is our movement and it's our radio station. So you can go online and do that. Check us out Tuesday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And also our 3rd annual Straight Black Pride Movement Convention, August 19th and 20th. Both days are going to be here, live and direct at the Everlasting Life, 9185 Central Avenue. So we want you to come on out and enjoy your time here. And of course, the doc knows about this because if it wasn't for her, we couldn't have made this happen. But this is, what's the name of the group again, please? I'm sorry.
Empowerment Center.
The Empowerment Center. The Empowerment Center, we actually had about close to 20 children, black youth, coming out and built the garden for a brother in the local area. And we were just so proud of them. I mean, they actually put the wood together. They actually laid down the garden, the lawn fabric and put the wood on top and drilled it in. We had children. If you're watching on elifemedia.net, you can see these children that you're looking at right here. They're not just here for show. They actually put the box together, drilled the holes in, and dug 2 yards of dirt out by themselves and put it into this box and then planted the plants and then watered it, the garden, creating our own food, showing you self-determination. It's all because the Empowerment Center that's run by Doc here was able to make this happen. And so we just want to let people know there's some beautiful things that we have going on. And again, we want to remind you to come check us out at 6 p.m. tonight. It's going to be a phenomenal discussion. And without any further ado, I want to go to the doc here and let everybody know. So this is Dr. Owens, and I actually, forgive me for this, I keep asking for all these forgivenesses, but normally I'm set up a lot long beforehand, so I have everything ready in advance, so I can read off all of her credentials. The only problem is, I realized I was going to need about 45 minutes to do it because the list of credentials is so long. I'm like, well, is it one thing that I can focus on? Suffice it to say, we have a sister who is multi-talented and expert in a number of areas, including working with our people in terms of the male-female relationships. This is not just something because I like the sister, had her into the office. Knowing her through other means and talking to her and telling her we were doing this, and she telling us that this is one of her things that she has a passion for and professionally does, it was a no-brainer that I would have to want to have the honor of bringing Sister Kristal Owens to you, brother and sister. So this is somebody who has a doctor, not like Dr. J, because they shoot a basketball, do it well. This is somebody who spent the time and the energy going to school, learning what it took to gain expertise in the field of psychology and understand with the mind. You can come over this way to help me, because I don't want that anymore. Yeah, I want you right in that shot like that. That's perfect. And this is someone who's going to be able to talk to us about the crisis. And just turn it that way. There you go. This is someone who's going to be able to talk to us about the crisis in male-female relationships in the black community. So without any further ado, I'm going to kind of, and if you want to get that at any point, you can. Not a problem.
I put it on.
You put it on here. Oh, yeah. See, she got the technology now. See, she got everything. The technology, psychology, sociology, yada-yology. Help us out, Doc. Right now, as black men and women, I would say, as far as my research has been, we may be in one of the worst crises in terms of socially being able to get along, having a vision for our families, our community, and our race that we've ever had. Could you help us start to get down? If you want to, you can do an introduction of yourself, or you can just start helping us understand where is this crisis coming from?
First, I want to just give acknowledgement to our ancestor, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
Beautiful.
Who set the record straight in terms of its influence, and other scholars Also influenced by Dr. Alea Africa, whom I took his certification class that
All participants are
helped me
muted,
to
and they can unmute
understand that
themselves.
a lot of our problems is due to nutritional deficiencies.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say this is the worst, but because it's manifested through media and other things, we went through a Ma'afa, which is the Great Disaster. We went through a lot all over the entire globe, not just on the continent, but if you look at the record, and the true record, the record would show that Africoid people all over the land, all over the world, were affected by Europeans, from going to Tasmania and on. And so if we look at the record, it is clear that we're definitely at war. We're definitely in a situation where we have to address these issues. And any problem, there's always a solution, and the solution is to go back to culture. Culture speaks to everything. And I draw from Dr. Africa, and he says that anytime that you look at how people behave in terms of how they eat, how they have sex, how they negotiate business, it always goes back to culture. There's an issue where we have a dichotomy of we're black, but we're within a environment that is anti-black. The way we comb our hair or not comb our hair, the way we dress, where we garb up or not garb up, all of that is a question and a factor, and you make certain choices based on that, how you want to live, how you want to express yourself. And therefore, when there is a clash of cultures like that, you're going to have a clash of in relationships. And always culture dictates behavior. And when you are devoid of your own culture and not knowing who you are and the progress and the richness and the philosophy and the history, all of that then brings what psychologist says a cognitive dissonance. And there's a problem. So there's also a solution. The solution is bring culture to bear, to analyze what culture is important to me. It, no matter what it is, as long as it is indigenous, as long as it's a part of people of color, that cultural practice will help you to carve out your behavior. Thus, we got to roll back and look at culture, one. And then we got to put into practice, because with culture, there are traditions, there's rituals, there are agreements about behavior, how men and women will work, not work with each other, how we will raise our children, in terms of birthing process. All of that goes back to culture. When I think back on some of the solutions that we are doing at Empowerment Center is, as far as the young brothers and sisters, is a rite of passage. We have to do that for the young brothers and sisters. But since a lot of adults, like myself, and it wasn't until I was an adult that I did a rites of passage process, which was Sacred Woman. And of course, going through my metamorphosis and learning about who I am drew me to this process of understanding why I'm here and the purpose of why I'm here. And all of us have to go through that. Why am I here? Who am I? When you know who you are, then you know about your God source. And it's not outside of you, it's inside of you. It is who you are. You are God. The very face of God is you. So spirituality is part of culture. Politics is part of culture. All of that. Thus, I believe that it's important for men and women to do, I'm talking about grown folks, to do a rites of passage, because we got to go back of how we relate to each other. How do we fight fair? How do we deal with disagreements? How do we communicate? How do we express love and compassion? All of that is important. How do we raise our children? What do we decide is valuable? That's the basis of it. So it takes time, and it really takes work. And some people will express about these problems. Some of them don't know what the solutions are, but then it's the next level is taking the solution and actualizing it.
So if because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm trying to process it, and what I'm really hearing you say, the bottom line is that if we don't have a working understanding of who we are, we're not going to be able to fix these problems.
Oh, that's correct. That's why you go to any ABC public school, you see nothing about Africa, nothing about blacks in China, blacks in India, nothing, nothing. We are still celebrating Columbus Day. So if we're still doing that, and we'll be coming to that in the next few months, over and over again, and hear nothing about Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, there is a problem.
Okay, so if I would say it's fair to say, if we had to do a percentage, because I think there's an awakening that's happening. It's slow, but with a lot of the different documentaries that are circulating, I think there's some kind of an awakening happening. But largely, if we were to look and do a percentage, I would say, I think it's fair to say 85% or more of black people don't have a working, reasonable understanding of our history as African people, what we've been through, and how we've gotten to where we are. So that means, I think that's a good number. If we just want to use a number, the vast majority of our people don't have a real strong cognitive working knowledge and understanding of what we've been through, which essentially means we don't know our own history. We don't know what we've done historically as the basis for self-esteem. And if I'm hearing you correctly, that means that 85% of our people are in a situation where they're going to have to work harder than the average person in any community will work to get along, because they don't even have the starting foundation.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question, because that bears, because what I'm noticing is, and that makes perfect sense what you're saying, you made it very simplistic to me. You made it very clear for anybody that wants to pay attention and understand, basically saying you have two people who are coming together, male and female, well, if it's male and female these days, and the male doesn't know who he really is and what he's supposed to be doing.
Right.
And the woman doesn't know who she is and what she's supposed to be doing. And according to something that you said earlier, we're getting many of these ideas from television, which are not programming that's designed by people who know who we are and how we're supposed to be. Right. So we're getting false programming of what we're supposed to be. We don't know who we are, and that's 85%. What about the 15% who do know and have a working history of who we are as a race of people, who do understand what we've been through and what we're going through, who are also having problems? What would you say about that?
I would say then further, we got to drill deeper inside.
Okay.
Because you and I, just right here in this room, represent 14 generations back. 14 generations back has implications for us today. What my ancestors did in the past have implications why I'm sitting here right now. And then if I had children, you have children, your children will be impacted and impacting definitely 7 generations ahead of them. And so that's a line of past and future and present right now that we got to look at. And some of that, some people have what is called ACEs. ACEs are acute childhood experiences. And they have experienced a lot of trauma. And I'll give you an example. We do rites of passage, and this is for 12-year-olds all the way up to 18-year-olds. And at times I'll do a survey. How many of you have seen somebody dead on the street? And I will say about 90% will. So, if I go back to my generation, which is about 2 generations back, I never experienced that because my parents made certain decisions in their lives so that I wouldn't experience some of the traumas that possibly they have experienced in their past, dealing with Jim Crow, dealing with other inequities of their past. They did their best in the 60s to make sure that my experience was a little bit better than what they experienced in the past, and definitely different from my grandparents on both sides. So just think about that. That is a trauma. That's just one blip of the screen. And then impacting that many, many, many traumas, now you see where we are. When we spend a lot of time watching social media and other things, you have what Dr. Welsing said, we have a brain computer. It never forgets. Even if it's not readily accessible, it's there. And we can go back to that whenever needed, either in fight or flight, or when we need it in leisure, it's there. That's the genius of this genome that we have, this DNA, but it also calls for us to do what is necessary to repair it. That means to speak truth to power, and that power is inside of you to speak to it. Not on the outside, but on the inside, because a lot of us are dealing with certain things, traumas, that we won't even talk about. They keep it close to our chest. I can't express it. And so if that is the case, and you're dealing with that, and then you have a sister on the other end who's dealing with her stuff, it could be molestation, it could be homelessness, it could be a number of things. All you're going to get is chaos.
So, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm trying to, as you're putting it out there, man, we jumped right into a deep conversation. And I'm glad it happened this way, though, because you ain't playing around with it. So basically you're saying, and again, it's my interpretation, but I'm looking at what I'm seeing. We're looking at it as individuals. What's wrong with these black guys? And what's wrong with these black women? Why I can't get along with them? But we're not looking at it from the perspective of all of us have been dipped into a sea of insanity. Like Baba Rudy says, if you swimming in a sea of insanity, you're bound to get wet. And so you're saying the experiences, all of these experiences have been downloaded into the brain computer, whether it's TV, whether it's real life, whether it's abuse, whether it's seeing us mistreat each other, hearing negative things about light skin, dark skin, and hair, and all of these things that have been going on for generations. All of this stuff is part of us. And there's no process that we've gone through to sort these things out and to gain sanity. And then to look and say, well, this is who we're supposed to be. And this is what our rights are paid. This is how we are. This is how men are. This is how our women are. This is the circumstance we're facing. Now let's work things out. That's not happening. We're just full of pain, put together, and say, figure it out.
Figure it out. And that's why we have what is just a base level of maturity or development, which is just male and female, just walking around looking like they're men and women, but they're just males and females. And that could be a dog, that could be a cat, that could be a squirrel, male, female. But it takes it to another level when you're at a rites of passage process and you're talking about boy-girl development. Then launching into adulthood in terms of womanhood, manhood, expression. So, yes, we have a lot of work to do because we gotta go back to some things, drill some things back. One is terms of our own stuff, whether it's being in a formalized support group like Empowerment Center has, which we'll be giving information about that. But it's doing your own self-exploratory work, journaling, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, whatever it is to help you to deal with that stuff. It's very important to do that. Because otherwise, in a moment, a fleeting moment, something will come up and it just is our transference, our counter-transference. That's why sometimes you'll find people, I don't know why I did it, but yeah, I slapped her. Because it pushed a button. And that button wasn't just that instance, but it had something to do with childhood, or it could be just generations in the past. It's a lot. It is a lot to deal with. I mean, it's a lot. And it's not going to be perfect, but this is the cards we've been dealt with, and therefore we got to play a new hand. We got to change the game.
So, okay, and the reason I'm asking is because, you know, I was looking at the nuts and the bolts. What are the responsibilities of black men? What are, but I think this probably started in a much better place because we didn't jump right into the specifics. Mm-hmm. You gave us a much broader perspective that we haven't even drawn the right picture of what our relationships are supposed to be looking like in the context of the world we're in. It's not like we're just in a world where there's nobody trying to harm us or kill us or poison us. We're in a world where we're in a war for our survival. Mm-hmm. And in that context, on some level, of course, that has got to be taken into consideration in it, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And in that context, then there's a certain way that men should be. There's a certain way that women should be. There's certain things we should have to understand. Like, for instance, I'm reading a book that we're going to do this. I might even do this next week, or I might wait till the next Monday. I don't know. I don't even know if I can wait till next week. There's a book by Dr. Nathan and Julia Hare that they wrote called Dehumanization, the Unisexualization and the Coming Extinction of the Black Race. Mm-hmm. They wrote this in the 1980s. And I'm reading the book now, and it's blowing me out of the water. Yeah. And one of the things they were saying is that the Europeans intentionally make economic life difficult for black men.
Of course.
And then that situation breeds resentment from black men and powerlessness and hopelessness that we then turn around and use to abuse our women.
Yes.
But that it becomes a cycle because for brothers who are trying to do well and because the olive branch has been given more to the black woman than the black male in the workplace at least. Now some black women feel a sense of power and superiority over the male who may even be trying to do the right thing, but because she makes more money, now that becomes a use of leverage to leverage resentment or power over the male as if he's not sufficient because he's not making the same economic thing. So it becomes a cycle where our community, you know, that's just one of the many things they were saying is in the centerpiece of us battling each other with situations neither of us created. But I guess neither of us have adequately sat down and figured out how we were going to compensate and deal with this situation either. So okay, and I kind of heard you already gave the answer. You said, where do we start? You were saying that we have to have, if I'm to understand you, it's not starting with the individual thinking they can fix it by themselves, but with being part of something.
Part of something, guidance, elders, people who are knowledgeable about relationships, knowledgeable about how to deal with conflict resolution issues, knowledgeable about domestic violence, just the whole thing. It's important to do that, and aware that it's not only just the post-traumatic slave syndrome, but it's also adverse childhood experiences, and that dichotomy that plays within us. And then we have to deal with the dynamic, because in this European culture, it is clearly a divisive culture that focuses on materialism. Whereas in a Aboriginal or African tradition, it is looking at the union of the opposites, that there is a confluence of male and female, that your maleness will then complete the femaleness and vice versa. And it's not a looking at, you're the opposite of me. No, you are a companion and a part and a complement to me.
Okay, so in other words, the way I'm hearing it is the European has male against female.
Oh, yes.
And African
That's
has male and female as a team.
Yes. And this comes from a philosophy called Into. Into means universal force. It means essence. And part of that philosophy or African psychology out of Central Africa, it dictates that so above, so below. What is extrinsic is also intrinsic. What is outside of me is also inside of me. It's phenomenal work that our ancestors have done. We got to take it to the next level where it's applicable to people in their daily lives.
So that's something that when I'm hearing you say has existed for thousands of years.
Thousands.
How does it translate to the modern context of what we're dealing with? Because I definitely understand that as a general context. How does it play out though when you're dealing with racial aggression? We've been kidnapped, we've been displaced. As men who are supposed to be the protectors and providers, we failed and we lost those wars. I mean, it is what it is. We lost those wars, not beating up on us, but we lost them. Mm-hmm. When we lose those wars, what that means is we lose the right to protect our women. Mm-hmm. We lose the right to be the men of our families. Mm-hmm. We've lost the right to dictate the safety and the direction of our race because we lost it just in battle. Mm-hmm. So, and I can't say for certain, I'm only speaking for my view of it, but to some degree, I feel as though we haven't sat down and had the conversation and say, hey, as men, we lost these battles. And we have to take responsibility. Not that we're not a team, but we have to take responsibility for the fact that we got in this situation because we should have won. Mm-hmm. And now that means we got to go out here and win. Mm-hmm. And we're going to need your help to do that. Right. And we're going to need your help. But I don't feel like in all these hundreds of years, this conversation of black men taking responsibility for the fact, as the men, the bottom line is we're the front line. When we lose, we lose for all. We don't just lose for ourselves. We lose for everybody.
The family.
We lose for the family, and now we're trying to. I don't even know if we're trying. Let me ask you this, because I'm speaking from my own perspective. But honestly, when I look out at black men out there, I see, of course, the people I come in contact with. I remember. I always remind myself of the small 1% of 1% of the people like yourself who know what's going on and are trying to do good things. And there's a lot of us, but it's still not a representative proportion of our race. But what I'm saying is, I don't know that black men are now saying, you know what, we failed, we lost these wars, and it's time for us to get up and go out here and win now. Mm-hmm. We put our families back together and fix the. I don't know that we're saying that.
No, I don't think they're even conscious of it, because it's just from day to day, 3 hots and a cot. That's basically it, and some sex. That's it. And so it's very base. It's very animalistic. It's not higher thinking, and they're just existing. I've seen it, and it's not just males; it's females too. And when you see the fastest growing population, as far as incarcerated populations, are black women. It's not black men. The growing rate is among black women, and I fortunately or unfortunately had that opportunity to see that, because I Most of my career is working in institutions and also community corrections. And to see how people are just existing instead of having, when you wake up for your day, each day, you have a mission, you have a purpose, you have a wife, you have 2 children, you have a drive to move on. Other people, it is when am I going to get my next high or my next sex. That's it. So that's very, very base and animalistic. And so they have either nothing to lose and don't care if they die. And I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of people that I manage programs, and I see this, I've seen it every day.
So now let me ask you, how many of these people, how many of these brothers and sisters, in other words, I'm trying to get it, these are the people that you saying this represents people who you could see, okay, they're incarcerated, they're here, there, or are you saying that this extends to the average black person that might walk in here and I might look at them and go, oh, that's just well put together, but really she's dealing with that same thing?
Still with the same thing. Even if she has moved to a higher level than the rest, she has family members. She has a brother incarcerated. She has a sister that died of HIV. She has a mother that is ill. So there are things that people are dealing with each and every day that they're struggling with, and they need support. They need support. And so some of it has to do with, we got to reach out. This is a normal thing to get life coaching. We normally don't say counseling, but life coaching, guidance, rites of passage, eldership lessons, to get folks in a circle to talk about these things fully and presently, about their own responsibilities, things that happened to them when they were young, because they weren't responsible for that. But once you become an adult, that is your responsibility to make a change.
So, and I said this years ago, but it was mostly coming from the perspective of me focusing on sexual abuse. But I never looked at it in the context of what you're saying. When we did the Predators in Our Midst lecture, one of the things we said at the end of that is that the churches, because they're there, a lot of us have issues with Christianity and all that. I'm saying, look, they're there. They have the physical structure. I said, if they could open their doors to be counseling, so that 7 days a week, there are people who do counseling anyway. They could be at the church, that if you've been sexually abused or you're going through it, or it could have happened 20, 30 years ago, but you need somebody to talk to, you can go to the church and you can talk about it. Because most people don't know where they can go and don't know how, and I don't even know that psychology is set up now so that it's designed to help our people really deal with it, as opposed to tell them, hey, you're gay, so don't worry about what happened yesterday. So it's like, I thought that would be a great idea if the church would open itself to do that. But what I'm hearing you say, it's more expansive than just the victims of sexual abuse.
Oh, yes.
As a race of people, we need racial, personal healing, racial counseling. The things we've been through, knowledge of who we are, books to read to help us develop self-esteem, information from people to say, hey, that happened in your youth. You just said something that when I did the Predators, and I'm only speaking to this because you're waking up a lot of things in me to see a bigger picture. One of the things I heard from a lot of people, but one specific sister in particular who's told her story of sexual abuse, when I did the Predators in Our Midst, and I said, was that helpful? And she said it was extremely helpful. And she said, I said, what was the main thing? She said, the main thing you said in there that I never thought about exactly like this, you said it wasn't your fault.
Yes. And that is key in that, because a lot of shame and guilt. Because what if I coulda, woulda, shoulda? Always play. I don't care if even if they were 7 years old or 90. It's always that case, because it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome where the victim somewhat aligns in a sick way with the predator. Not intentionally, but it's just that maybe I'm at fault if I had not worn that dress at the club. Those are some of the things that people do when they are recovering from a trauma. So one of the things that we have to do is to be very, very gentle with people and listen. Listen not with these two ears, but the third ear. Listen and watch, because sometimes people are crying out and they're not really saying the right words, but if we're really looking, we'll see that there's that hurt little boy that's standing 6'5", but he's still a hurt little child within. And then if we know some of that history and be honest with that, because sometimes it's just clearing the ear and talking about it is the first step. Just acknowledging what is going on and addressing that. I won't say the area because some people will know the case, but I know of a case where a young man later in his life, through a series of things, lost jobs, I think incarceration was involved, decided that he wanted to shoot this priest. And he did. And thinking that is the resolve. The resolve did not occur by shooting this priest. That hurt is still there. Really needed to be in a circle with brothers to help deal with that. Really needed to be with someone to help him with a job skill or figuring out what he needed to do to find his stage and place in life. And sometimes we want to react and that violence is the answer to a child trauma situation, and it's not. Sometimes it's being honest, and especially if it's within a certain period of time, is to tell this story so that law enforcement can get involved. The stories go endless, but we have to, because sometimes we can go hard, and it's about history, it's about certain things, but sometimes we just got to just listen and have that confidentiality in that circle so that people can just share what they're really dealing with. And it's not easy, but there are answers within that story, because you have a story, I have a story, and your story and my story is the greatest story ever told. Because why? It's your story, and it's also my story. And my story is different from yours, and so is yours. But one of the important pieces is to allow that story to take flight, like wings, and to revive itself, to revive that heart. Because we got a lot of people dealing with broken issues. And when we're able to do that and to unravel that, and then bringing in rituals, bringing in diet, those are the reparative actions and methods that's necessary for our people to rise up.
Whew. Whew. Oh, well, brothers and sisters, we having a serious dialogue here with Dr. Owens. I'm just sitting here, and no, I'm dead serious. Like, you know how you're having a conversation, it makes too much sense. So it doesn't. It's deep in a different sense. You're not using all the big fancy psychological words. You're making just real sense.
Yeah. Because the answer makes sense. It probably was done in my mother's generation, my grandmother's generation, in an informal setting where sisters got together and brothers got together.
Grandma.
All that. But we are so splintered, especially anybody under 30 years old. Where do they go? they can't go to the church because sometimes even the church was a setting of abuse or judgment and other things. So there are communities where they can go. And that's Empowerment Center, that's Progressive Life Center. There are folks that have culturally centered services that people can go to talk about these things. And not just talk, but also put into action certain things that are necessary for them to heal and to revive from that situation.
All right, let me ask you a question. I need you to give people your information. Because we're gonna keep this conversation going, but I'm just sitting here. I might have to take a quick break.
I'm sorry, I laid it on you, but
you keeping it real. Look, this is heavyweight stuff because this is why it's so heavy. And I know you know this, but I just had to say it. You're not just having an interview right now. What you're doing is beginning the repairing of so many people who are hearing it now and going to hear this interview. Because you're saying things that you're talking general, and every now and then you give specifics, but you're talking every one of our story, including mine. Like just in the context of the relationships, you're talking everybody's story. So you're making sense with it. It's like therapy, and it's step by step, easy. And I think, I know for me, just listening, even in terms of the fact, I work with a lot of people that are having problems, issues. A lot of times it's sexual abuse. So it's a serious problem. And I talk to them, I try to help them through it. But, just as living in this life, I have problems as a guy, particularly doing what I do. I have nobody to talk to. I don't talk to anybody about it. So I know that somewhere inside, I'm sure, it hurts me too. And the reason I know is because as I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm thinking about everybody else, I'm going, wow, well, if I actually was honest with myself and listened to what you're saying, like you said, with that third ear, I would go, I deal with stuff too, but because I'm trying to help everybody else, I don't have an empowerment center to go to because in my mind, I am the empowerment center for everybody.
Yes.
But I'm not an island either.
Yes.
So it's heavy what you dropping today because I know I can feel the energy. People are listening and they hear what you're saying.
And what I appreciate, because you honestly shared that you have stuff, I do as well. And just being honest and open, we have to see each other as sounding boards, as resource. And I can go to you, you can go to me, I can refer you to another brother that is a psychologist, a black psychologist. I know a number of them who are deeper than me in terms of their ability to heal, especially with brothers. And that's the key. That's a key point, that we have to spend time with each other and be gentle. Into psychology, there are 5 phases. The first phase is the most important phase, and it's called harmony. And harmony is about union. It's about bringing to bear our hopes, our dreams, who we are in a very careful way, in a very intentional way. And it's important for us to look at ourselves and bring harmony and balance in our lives. And then when we are able to do that, and we are able to talk and able to connect, whether it's a couple, whether it's a group, or whether it's just myself, I have to bring harmony within myself. I might do that by eating better, by drinking more water, by journaling, by sharing all of my stuff about myself and this work. So that's harmony. Second phase is awareness. And one of the things that is important is to be aware of not only our childhood experiences, but the experiences of our past generation trauma and victories. So it's not just the deficits or the negative. It's also the celebration as well. But oftentimes we want to bypass the trauma, because when we do that, it continues.
Wow.
There are other phases, and I'll quickly go through.
Mm-hmm.
Alignment. When I'm in alignment with you, when we can really talk, there is a force. It's a evolving force. Whether you want to say it's essence or spirit energy, it is a force between us that helps me to be in alignment with you. Fourth phase is actualization. It is actually putting a plan together, actualizing that in our lives. And then synthesis. Synthesis is that confluence of male-female energy. Is that when we become one, that is no greater, no lower than either one. It's a merger of the two, where it is a synthesis, and that's unbeatable.
Okay, so, and you heard her say consensus. So you see, she's throwing a doctor in just to make sure you know she's a doctor. She's using the big words on it and stuff like that. So give us the 5 rundown again so we all have it.
It's harmony,
awareness,
actualization. Alignment, actualization,
synthesis. So basically, by synthesis, you take all 4 of those and you put them together, and now y'all are one. Now, I don't even have to hear you say it. I know what you think, and I can jump in because I know where it is. Okay, let me do this. You know. I know what you know where I am. We're together.
And one of the things that is very important is that oftentimes people plan for the wedding, but do very little to plan for the marriage. And what I mean is that we plan for that day for a year and a half, and get the dress together and the tux or whatever we're going to do. If it's a cultural wedding, we get all the outside stuff done, but we do very little in terms of reparative work, working on how we communicate, working on how we're going to spend money, how we're going to raise children. All of that stuff needs to be done before we even deal with going down the aisle, which I want to talk about that too later, because we do it backwards.
Oh, man. Well, let me do this. I'm going to take a quick break. Go give us a little Coley Williams. Let me say, she got to pat a brother on the back. She up in here throwing some shots, brother. Says this is some. Let me tell you something. When they say the goddess I set is the one that comes and put things back together, I had gotten on my whole box. Look, the condition of our sisters these days, I said, brothers, we're going to have to be the ones to get up. But I'm sorry. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the ancestors knew better than me, because if this sister is not demonstrating that goddess I set principle, putting it back together, it can't just be me. I'm not that easily moved. And I'm a champion. I really do like this sister, but I'm not that kind of person. Like, if you're not impressive, I'm not going to fake it. Like, the information and the assessment that the sister is giving to us is just, somebody just asked, matter of fact, I'm instead of just doing accolades, let me be, like you said, let me be practical in the application of it. Somebody just asked, please give her information. They want your information again, so they can reach out to you. If you're in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, you want some counseling or a place where you can join and be part of, it's a nonprofit.
Nonprofit organization. We take donations.
That's right. They take donations. And for people out there, it's worth it. I've seen the work they do. I've been there, and I can tell you it's worth it to contribute. Could you give them your information again?
Yes. Empowerment Center. We can be reached at 301-322-6060. 301-322-6060. And by email at info@empowerment-center.org. info@empowerment-center.org.
Now, I'm gonna help you get an extra plug in, because I got to copy this and do it again. So we got Empowerment Center, and give me the number again,
301-322-6060. I'll even give my cell number as well.
And let me we got this number here, so we good. And then let's get our email again.
Empowerment-center.org.
Center.org.
Yes.
And then I'm going to put your name here so that because this is real. This is where it's like she's not just talking. She about to give her personal number. Call me anytime you need me. No, we ain't not gonna burden your number because a lot of people need some help out here. But so I just put what I'm doing is on both of the live feeds. I put my sister's information on here. So what I'm gonna do, brothers and sisters, we're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna go and listen to some Coley Williams, where she has a song. I think it's beautiful. It's called Natural. Basically, it's a song about telling young sisters to love their natural hair and love who they are naturally. And I think just in terms of what we're talking about, the healing principles and everything that we're talking about here today, I think that this is just so appropriate for what we're doing. So if you go on to the live feed now, either of the live feeds, you can listen to, you can get all the information on Dr. Owens, Dr. Kristal Owens, Empowerment Center, 301-322-6060. That's 301-322-6060. info@empowerment-center.org. That's info, I-N-F-O, at empowerment, EMPOWERMENT-center, CENTER.org. And so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, what I want to do when we come back, because I know you want to talk about marriage, but I want to start going into, and I definitely leave opportunity for that, and we also have this evening. I want to start talking about some of the practical issues that people are talking about, because I think you did a phenomenal job of talking about the overall basis of what's creating the foundation of the issue. Now I'm going to start asking you specific questions. I'm going to ask you about this question and this issue, and what about this, and how do we begin it? And so you can actually tell us those intimate, serious issues that are causing problems, how we can begin to address those, where they come from, and you're probably going to go back to some of the stuff you already talked about, but you'll tell us, and then how we can address some of those well.
Certainly. So
brothers and sisters, this is, and I'm asking everybody, just give it a chance. I know a lot of people are watching on Facebook, but go to elifemedia.net, and the link is directly in the description, either on my page or the Irritated Genie or Southeast page, elifemedia.net. That's ELIFEMEDIA, elifemedia.net. The reason I ask you to do that is because, like, when I play a video like I'm about to play now, you're not going to be able to see it. You can hear it, but you can't watch it. But if you're on eLife Media, you'll be able to watch it and hear it. So I'm about to play this song by Coley Williams called Natural, and then we're going to come back and talk to our good doctor here. So this is Coley Williams, Natural.
Which doll is the pretty doll?
White.
Which doll is the ugly doll?
This one.
Which one is the bad doll?
And if you tuned in on Facebook, take a chance and just look at that elifemedia.net, because you'll see
Which doll looks most
the
like
video
you?
we playing with Coley Williams.
Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the pretty doll?
The white one.
Which doll is the ugly doll?
The brown one.
Which doll looks most like you?
The brown one.
The one thing that I wish for you is just to be natural.
I look into your eyes and I realize you wanna change.
colors in my shade, feeling lovely sun rays, and I'm living on my days with my melanin and shades. Appreciating how I made, because how I baby comes naturally. Ain't nobody like me. We can live it to the top until the bottom will see. The reflection of we create a heaven of seas. That's where this unconditional love is like the birds and the bees. And so I lay on my beats, then we plant all these seeds, then we blooming like we looming a path. And yeah, we kicking a path into that coffee we laugh, where our souls interact. It's like we're attached from the root to the plat. I go ahead and grab my kente, roll it up in a wrap. I go ahead and grab my kente, roll it up in a wrap. I go ahead and grab my kente, roll it up in a wrap. Yeah, 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 yeah. Be natural. Be natural. Hey, hey. I love who you are. Star.
You have the grace, stay natural. Fill up this place, stay natural. You are the one, stay natural, baby. Your life's like the sun, stay natural. You are the one, stay natural. Just be who God put you here to be. Just be, just be, just be natural. Stay natural, lady. Natural, stay natural, lovely lady, lovely lady. Stay natural, stay
All right. That's Coley Williams, Natural. Beautiful song. And it's really, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about knowing who we are and feeling good about who we are so we can repair some of these issues we're dealing with. So now let me go to some of the things that I'm sure some of our people out here are asking these questions, because, of course, if people out there did anything like me, like you gave the heavyweight answers, now we all trying to realize that none of us have had racial counseling. That's what I'm going to call it, racial counseling, where we actually are counseled about our racial condition and understand how that plays into what we're really dealing with, our history and who we are and what we're facing. And I think that probably is the first step in order to go back. And so we haven't had that. So let's say, okay, we recognize that. Now we're talking about, and you've already given the answer that without that, these other things are going to happen. And so we do realize that. But let's talk some of the practical things we deal with. So I'm going to start giving from the black women, some of the things that black women complain about that I think are legitimate and are real and are an issue for them. One, infidelity, and black men looking for other women all the time when, according to those women, they provide what that man needs at home. Now, I don't want to jump and say that they are, because I don't always know that that's the case. I'm not there, but I'm saying when this many sisters are saying that this is a problem, it seems to me that it's a problem.
I'm going to get people angry at me.
Okay.
We have to have agreements.
Okay.
And to be open and honest, and on both sides.
Okay.
And we oftentimes live a lie, and that we are monogamous, whether it's male or female. And most people find themselves struggling with that. And I think within this American system, that for the average alpha black man, this is not a fit at all. Really the answer may be to honestly share that I am not going to be monogamous, or to reconstruct a marriage situation where it's polygamous, and to do that for the building of a race. it's not just sex, because the important thing is that sex is all in the brain. And so there are several things. You get married, get a man, get lazy, don't work out, don't take care of yourself, because there are other things that are going on, and there are legitimate reasons for that. But it's important that we go back. And one person that does it very well in terms of helping women to heal is Queen Afua. And I've been through her Sacred Woman process and the book Sacred Woman and the other book Heal Thyself are very poignant books to use as resources to build oneself up. So one thing, for men, if they're visual, you got to look good. But also the opposite. You can't be having the pot belly and looking all raggedy and thinking you macking and
And you smacking. You lacking. You slacking and you lacking and you want to be.
So it's on the opposite. But I really think part of this reparative process is to look at seriously about relationships and how on an ancestral level how we practice marriage.
So let me ask you a question related to that, because about maybe 60% of women just drop just because they're going to drop because they ain't want to hear that. But the other 40% who are listening, the other 40% who still turned it down a little bit.
They're on their way here to me.
Right. That right. They listening because they like, I want to make sure she don't leave the studio before I get there, and I want to know which direction she left. But and I see all the brothers running around cheering and jumping like, no, brother, no, she did not tell you can do that. No, that never happened. But for the sisters that are actually listening, and I think that I'm articulating something that some of them are saying is, okay, in a perfect world, yeah, but what about those men who ain't taking care of the woman that they have now? They're legitimately not. And they want to use this as a reason to have sex with a bunch of women, but they're not even taking care of their home now.
Right.
What about that?
No, that's not polygamy. That's just being irresponsible. That's not being a responsible black man to children, to women. That's not even a part of our history. That is basically plantation behavior, going from one plantation to another to breed, and that is in our DNA. There are people who are acting out that way because they don't know that somewhere in their ancestral history was a breeder. And that's why I breed. And maybe that's because of the fact that they think that doing this type of behavior shows my manhood. That is not manhood. There are 3 types of men. And hopefully they will be a merger of the two. It's a protector, there's a provider, and there's the predator. The latter is what you're talking about. That's a predator. With a smile, maybe even with a suit, but they're going from here and there, and they are predators in our community and leaving children and broken women for me to deal with.
Whew. So for all you brothers that thought you got off the hook, you, but they said, something is the setup for a comeback. Yeah, you just got to set up for the comeback. That
means that you have to be disciplined. Whether you are going to be in a polygamous situation, which I won't say where, but I know of people who have polygamous relationships because it's about clan building, and they have 4 wives. And I'm not talking about wives who are barefoot and pregnant in the home. I'm talking about one is a doctor, MD, 2 are PhDs, and 1 is a stay-at-home mom. And they have agreements. There's a legal wife, and the rest of them are ceremonial wives. And so that is working for them, and it's working well.
Now, ceremonial, what is it, so we understand what a ceremonial wife is?
So the state is not involved. This is something that they do as a spiritual or religious
they're married on their marriage. They're
Yes.
not on the European terms.
Yes.
It's their marriage and their agreement and their commitment.
And it's done. It's done in expediency and in order. That legally everything.
you.
So if he falls out of the limelight as far as his lifespan, that they're well taken care of.
And let me just say, you gonna laugh when I say this.
Yes.
So y'all know, and she will vouch for this, I had no earthly clue that she was gonna say. So some of y'all think, yeah, Genie just set this up, giving her all these accolades so she can come in here. Look.
No, I did not.
We have never discussed this. I didn't see that one coming. So I'm like a deer in headlights and everything because I can't dispute it. I guess for me, this is gonna sound crazy because I'm a male. And of course I like black women.
Right.
But like it's hard enough to one. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yo,
And it's not for everybody.
you know,
But if it's not for everybody, then that means that your behavior has to line up with your agreement.
okay. So whatever you agree to is what you gotta live by.
Yes. And so there shouldn't be secrets. If you're going to have an open marriage, and you're going to go out and do that type of behavior, I wouldn't condone it because I think that marriage is a sacred commitment.
And you're married.
I am not married
Oh, okay.
anymore.
Okay.
I am recently divorced.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you. Okay.
But
no
I am not on the market.
No, you good. You like, don't even look at some brothers like, hey, wait a minute, hold up.
I used to be married, and similarly, that you can have it all together on one end, but if the brother isn't together and dealing with their childhood trauma, which was the case, and it manifested in our marriage, that is the reason why he walked out. Because his stuff started to show up, and didn't want to seek help.
And honestly, as we're talking, I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, things that are there, they don't disappear.
No.
You
they
either
don't.
deal with them or they're going to come out.
They're going to come out.
And if you don't deal with them, then they're going to come out and they can destroy what would otherwise be a perfect situation.
Yes, it can. So we have great intentions. We have great things in mind to do in life, but we also have to line our behavior up with the intentions.
So as we look, wow, okay, that's good. Okay, so first of all, so you answered my question there, and it was really interesting because I totally thought you were going to go a different direction, but you went a direction, and quite frankly, it's nothing I can say about it because what you said in its entirety was sound. So let me go to the next issue that sisters talk about. So we dealt with the infidelity one. What about he's not responsible?
Then he's not for you. As difficult as it may be, I would rather be alone than have somebody that is irresponsible. Whatever that is expressed in their life. I would not want to have just a warm bed. There has to be spiritual, intellectual download from ancestorship in that flesh and blood. Just because he has a penis doesn't mean that that's the man for me. There has to be a complexity of things that make a man. Now, mind you, and I'll share a little bit of my family history. I come from a family where my father was a alpha male who, dealing with a system, he married my mom, but I also have a brother that's 4 months older than me. So that brought on a whole other dynamic for my mother and also for the entire family. My grandparents raised my brother. But it just brought on a lot of stuff, and he dealt with it the best that he could as a 30-year-old man. But he wasn't interested in really having children with my mom or with the other lady. Because I didn't know until I was older that my parents weren't married until I was 5. But they lived together. But in terms of that sacred commitment, it wasn't until later. So it's really about being open and honest about stuff and not hiding behind that I have it all together. I don't have it all together. I have the professional credentials. I have other things that I've accomplished, but it's really telling a story, my story, that's the best story ever told.
Okay, so let me ask another question that women come on. Brothers, I'm not going to leave you out. I know Genie always talking about the women, but he ain't answering none of our questions. Okay, so we about to be at 3:30, so I'm going to ask this question because the sister asked it. I hear this all the time, too. It's probably the number one thing I hear from black women. I just can't find a good man.
That is not an excuse. You're a U.S. citizen. You got a blue passport that's probably worth millions.
Around the world, you get.
Around the world, there are brown and black men in over the globe travel. There are options there.
Okay, so is it safe to say that when a black woman says, I just can't find a good black man, that part of that is maybe either, and I'm just throwing this out there, either she doesn't know what a good black man means, or maybe she's not as good a woman as she thinks she is, so that these men that she's interested in, the ones that are decent, good men and not interested in her, she hasn't done self-evaluation. And then also maybe she's looking for a good man in the type of men that are not going to be good men.
It's a little bit of both. Some of it is self-development work need to be done. Some of it is they're too picky. Oh, he doesn't have a degree, so I don't want to deal with him. He's just a laborer. Really?
Wow.
He makes $100,000 as a plumber. Come on.
He got his own business.
He got his own business, and he's not good enough for you?
Wow.
Okay.
Because so he doesn't work for somebody else. He works for himself.
Yeah, he works for himself. You know, my daddy was able to maintain businesses with a high school diploma, former military man, and he raised children inside his house and outside of his house. And so it is important for us to understand that it may not be the well-out Obama played-out law degree, and even that, I'll make a quick comment. I don't like Omega men, so that's what he is. So you can have that. Give me an alpha male any day.
You don't want the dog?
No.
You don't want the...
So,
sorry, my Q dog brothers. It was a Q dog out there.
No, not in terms of fraternity. I'm talking about level of men. There are alpha men, beta men, and then there are omega men. They're like girly, sort of.
Little sissy boy. Okay, yeah. The sweet thing. You ain't with the sweet. Oh, okay. Oh, so you in the know then? Because I said this back in right before he was going into office, before they tried to elect him, and I told people that I have people that still will not speak to me this day. I have elders that said I was working for the federal government trying to do it because I told them this guy ain't right. Yeah. Okay. So okay.
Yeah. So they're too picky. Oh, I introduced one female friend, and she's an Amazon. She's almost 6 foot, and she's about 5'10", 5'11", and so was the guy. But she didn't want to date him because he's too short. She says, when I put heels on, well, first of all, you shouldn't be wearing heels. But when I put heels on, I'll be taller than him. Okay. So what?
So is it fair to say that black women are looking for a fantasy storybook kind of reality?
Yes.
And even if they got it, they probably wouldn't be happy because it's not just what's on it. Because you have day-to-day things that you have to do to maintain that, even the storybook thing, and it's not just that easy. And then you have to do some work. It's not just the prince comes and sweeps you off your feet and takes you. You don't cook, you don't clean, you don't do anything, and everything works great.
Crazy. It's a story that is nothing but a disaster waiting to happen.
So Prince and Knight.
All the time.
So the Knight in Shining Armor is a complete fantasy.
Oh man.
imagination.
Anything that has anything to do with Rome is nothing but a disaster.
Okay.
And so you're going to even further it and say romance? Oh, my gosh, you're in trouble. We really got to go back to the basis and drill this back and wind it back in terms of manhood, womanhood. What is a man? What is a woman? How can we get there if you're not there? You may be there in age, but you're not there in character. How can I change this behavior of doing the plantation behavior to kind of filtering this down to dealing with myself? You might need to do some Qigong work. You might need to do some Tantra work. It is important for us to really look at what actions are needed to take place to change some behavior.
All right, let me add. Now, let me start going into what the brothers complain about. Because, I mean, the brothers come to me religiously complaining.
All right.
She won't support me. No matter what, if I'm going this direction, she wants to go this way. Brothers tell me it's religiously. I mean, like, so much that it's like, if the white man said it, then it's cool. But if I say it, it has no validity.
You are right on target. I without disclosing the person's name, his wife belongs to a predominantly white church, pastor's white, and the brother is also a minister himself, but not active in the church. And over again, he would share how his wife would say, well, Pastor so-and-so said this, Pastor, stop it, stop it, stop it. You are doing what I would call microaggressions against your man. What does your husband say, and how can you come to an agreement? How can you support him? Everybody have a sense of good. So what is that, and how can we focus on that and build from there? But if you are against him in terms of ideas and things to do, then your house is divided and it's going to fall. The other thing I got a respond to is one brother said to me last week that his relative has a girlfriend that openly argued with his relative in public and also in front of him. Don't do that. Don't do that ever, ever, ever. Take that stuff. If you gotta.
So,
they had a disagreement. And
him and his wife had a disagreement.
Yeah, and got loud in the community, out in public.
Oh, and took the disagreement before everybody and started doing it publicly.
Yes.
Not no side discussion right in front of everybody.
And that could have gone two ways. The brother decided to kind of retreat from it and let her get loud, but it could have been nasty.
Oh, yeah.
He could have got physical with her.
Every dude don't do that. Yeah. I can't. Yeah.
And so that stuff has to stop. That is nothing but aggression, major aggression. And it's probably stuff that she's dealing with that has nothing to do with him, but he pushed her buttons. And so we have to take that back. There's some things that our elders used to do.
Microaggression.
Yes, microaggression.
Okay, some of the things our elders used to do. I'm sorry, that's just a powerful term. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
So, some of the things our elders used to do. That one elder said, we would go to the garage instead of having our discussion or arguments in the house, and not arguing in front of our children. Never do that. Never do that. There's a theory called the social learning theory. Social learning theory says that we learn better by experiencing the behavior or the learning experience. So if you're going to purport a certain way in front of your children and you want that to be positively impacted, then you don't argue in front of your children. You have discussions, you can have a disagreement, but this violent arguing and cursing and fighting and all, it's got to stop.
So if you have something that's going to be an intense argument, not a disagreement, because the disagreement they can learn from.
Right.
But if it's going to be an argument, you're saying do not do that
Don't do that.
in front of your children. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we got that one. Here's another thing I hear brothers complain about. She can't accept any form of criticism. If I say anything, that it's just a problem. I can't say nothing. It's, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of brothers just say, I just don't say nothing. I just go there, because you can't say nothing. No, even we'll have these situations where we're having discussions. And it's the funniest thing in the world. You'll see it tonight. You will witness it tonight. Even though I'm saying it, this is exactly what's going to happen.
Okay.
When you start talking about things that black men got to improve on,
Right.
the brothers will be sitting there, and you will have a few that will try, no, but let me say, wait, brother, if it's real, you be a man. Stand up, just deal with it. Okay. You have a few of that.
Hi, my name is
And-
Latrice, and I was trying to respond to what the young lady was saying, talking to the irritated Genie. My name is Latrice, and he knows me.
Hey, Latrice, let me give you I got to give her another number to call. That's not that. This thing not supposed to be on, man.
Oh, okay.
It's not. I have a number. If you listen to Latrice, let me give you a number to call. Yeah, I definitely want to hear what Latrice got to say. But call. Let me give you the number. 641-715-3640. Again, that's 641-715-3640. And the code is 948-656-pound. 948-656-pound. I'm sorry, brother. So there's another number that they have here. I don't use that. We use a system where I can go into the conference number and call. So I actually have a number here. This might be her, 3096. I'm going to come to you in one moment. So just hang on, and I'm going to come to you so you can ask your question. Everybody, again, if you want to call in, it's 641-715-3640. Again, 641-715-3640. Participation code 948-656-pound. The other thing is that if people have an issue to bring up, like what I was going to say, what we're going to see tonight, but when you start talking about the sisters, it's not going to be the same one or two. It's going to be an absolute war, almost like you for being a woman.
Right.
See, it comes from different view. If it's a man, they ain't even listening. And it's like, oh, whatever. Right. But if it's a woman, like you have been a traitor.
I'm a traitor to my agenda.
You're a traitor to your gender because you've expressed the fact that a black woman can make an error.
Yeah.
So
black women have made many errors, and likewise black men have. And it's clear that we have to recognize that we're not perfect, that we have to have a way to, I would say, care from each other, meaning instead of confrontation, we provide a level of care while we're confronting someone about their issues. And women in particular, they're just embattled. You showed the video of the young lady in Choosing. And particularly the darker hue the sister is, the more embattled she is, because she is dealing with so many forces out there about her hair texture, about her facial features, about her body type, and what's in and what's not. If she's flat-chested, she's, not good. If she doesn't have hips, she's got a problem. There's so many things where we objectify women that really, to add on a criticism about character and choices, it's like this, because I've had enough.
Wow. Let me tell you, I felt this way for so long.
Yeah.
But you just said it, so I don't have to take the hit on this. Because my wife is dark skinned, so I don't have nothing against dark skin. Thank you. Yes, she is. Very, very happy to have her.
Yes.
So, but I have felt that dark skinned women tend to have a quicker fuse and more resistance to any form of criticism. And learning over the years how brutally dark skinned women are treated as children.
It's horrible.
I can see it, but to state that to a dark-skinned woman, I don't know how to do that without getting murdered. I'm still alive, so how does one say, hey, it wasn't your fault, the brutality you faced and everything, but the resentment that you harbor could hurt a positive relationship?
I would use the phases of N2. You start with harmony. So you compliment her. How many women, black women, particularly dark-skinned women, get complimented about her beauty?
Can I say something? And it might not be fair, but in having this guy, I got to be honest. This is what I've seen from it. And again, I want to be very clear. I do not have a light-skinned, dark-skinned issue. And I see all the calls on the queue now. I'm coming to y'all. And we got a rack of calls. I bet get these people for they choke me.
They're on their way
Yeah,
here.
they're on their way. Genie, do I make a left or a right? I don't know, brother. I don't know, sister. But again, this is what and again, I'm just bringing this in because you're saying it, and this is one that I can speak to. From the time that I was a child, I don't know why, but like super dark-skinned women, I've had this thing. I mean, maybe it's because, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like, it's like I think because I'm into the black thing, right. The blackness is just something about it. Mm-hmm. But what I've found is that, and I could be wrong, but I feel as though if I compliment a dark-skinned woman on her beauty as a dark-skinned woman and really believe it, this has just been my experience. So I'm not speaking for anybody else. It's almost like I must be a loser or something like that, because for me to really think that you're beautiful because you're dark, I can't be real. I'm a loser. But the light-skinned dude who don't compliment her at all, she want him or a guy who just mistreat her. Right. But a guy who's actually like, wow, you are absolutely beautiful. Right. And that I haven't seen that helps, and I could be dead wrong.
So if there are agreements among our brothers to continue to do that,
then it would change stuff.
It would change.
Okay. So it's not a one-time deal.
It's not a one-time thing. Okay. And then also you were referring to the brother that's confronting the sister about the complaint that he may have is for him to come with a compliment.
Okay. So first compliment.
You really look nice today. I really appreciate you, fixing dinner. I mean, she knows it's a build-up.
Okay, so she ain't stupid. Okay, so that's first.
Yeah, that's first.
First, then.
And then make her aware of what's going on. This is what's happening. And then what is the way that we can make alignment? What's the solution here that we can actualize? And so the phases of into philosophy can be actualized in our lives. It can be practical. So it's also the way he says it. It's not just the words, it's how you say it.
And this is what I need help on. So for y'all brothers out there that look, I know y'all saw these people on the line. They look, the whole board is lit. Hang on for me, I promise. This is my last question, then I'm coming to y'all. But I do want to ask this because I know as a fact that I'm not good at that. Like knowing how to say something. I can honestly say one of my biggest issues, this has been my whole life. I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm a straight shooter, not even intentionally. That's
how you are.
My whole entire nature, either I don't say nothing about something, or if I say it, it's a sting on it, and it's a hostility, and it ain't necessarily intentional. Even when I'm trying not to be, I don't know how to talk around it to get to it. I'm just like, this how it is, this is what's going on.
Write it down. Write it down. When you write it down and you say it out loud before
then I'll see that this ain't.
You'll see some of your little microaggressions in what you say.
Yeah, I got mine might be macro. I might have macroaggressions.
Macroaggressions.
Yeah, I be going in.
Then you need intervention.
I need intervention because I have macroaggressions in compliments. Even people tell me all the time, "How you gonna give me a compliment and insult me at the same time?" I be like, "That's what I do." You know what I'm saying? I want to give a compliment, but I'm insulting you at the same time. And I think I kind of know I'm doing it, but I don't know how to stop. So you say I need intervention. I need to. Write down and look at how ridiculous the way that I'm saying this is and say, Genie, it's ridiculous.
And then how you can reframe it so that it has more of the care, the love, concern, and the things you want to see changed.
Okay, so.
And then also say how you would feel if that behavior changed.
Wow, so say.
Because you're a thinker. As a female, I'm a feeler. And you gotta align with her feeling.
And that's another thing. You're gonna have to. This one we're gonna do one day. One day you're gonna do a whole entire. Because I'm bringing you back 1,000,000 times. You getting worked here. Look, she ain't getting paid, but she getting worked. Let me tell you something. This ain't slavery, but she getting working and ain't getting paid. Let me tell you. You're gonna have to do a session where you teach us as black men how to be caring.
Yeah.
And to deal with the feeling. Because I know I have 0% knowledge and understanding how to do it.
And when I do that, I would like to bring another psychologist brother with me, so you can get the balance, and it's not just coming from a female.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to turn this thing off.
No problem. So as women, we can get in our emotions and fly off the handle and all that stuff.
Really?
And no, yes, really. And it really, that attack on the male does what? He just puts his defenses up. And I'm just going to go out and get away from her and lay with somebody who's going to give me some problems.
I'm going to clear my head. Huh?
Yeah, help me out. And so we got to know how we communicate.
Wow. You actually got me to admit that I have a flaw. And you know, I'm not saying that this is the first time it's ever happened.
On this day, what day?
Yeah, write it down. Write down the date and time. Irritated Genie is not perfect. I know y'all out there, people are panicking now. They're hanging up. They're really coming out to you now. They're driving down here like, we did not want to hear that. There's no way. Who is this woman? She's a problem. She's an agent from the government.
I'm an agent.
You're an agent.
I need a bodyguard. Help me to get into my car and get home.
All right. I'm going to go into 3096. I'm coming to you. You're live on the Chopping It Up with the Genie. And do this for me. We only got a few minutes left, and we got a lot of calls. So if you could give Dr. Owens a brief question or comment so that she can go ahead and answer you. 3096, you live on Chopping It Up. 3096, going once, going twice. All right, they just tuning in and listening. No problem.
They're on their way here.
They're on their way. Yeah, they're like, nah, I ain't letting them know I'm coming now. Like, keep 'em on the line. Keep 'em on the line. Don't say nothing. All right, let me go to my brother, Straight Black Pride Movement, who's in Atlanta. My brother Franklin. Straight Black Pride, my brother.
Straight Black Pride. I don't have any questions. I just joined the conversation, so I'm just trying to pick up any tidbits I can get.
All right, brother. All right. Well, you take care, brother. Good to hear from you, and Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride.
Oh, see that brother right there? He got him a warrior wife, and they just got a beautiful relationship down there. Everybody who meets them just appreciate what they doing. They do some great work down there. We think we did a garden up here, but if you see what he got down there, he make farmers jealous of what they doing down there. Yeah.
That's good. And that's part of the healing energy that we need to bring into our relationships. When we eat well, we behave better, and we have a better relationship. When I'm putting in that garbage, fast food, anything from the carry out, you're going to get any type of behavior, and that's how I'm going to behave with you.
Got you.
So that's good work he's doing.
Yes.
And you're doing too.
Oh, I appreciate that. 7640. And after you exploit and point out all the wrong, now I see that's the acknowledgement. Oh yeah. You're trying to harmonize. Now, yeah, brother G, you do some great work. Learn how to be a man and have some feelings with a woman. Okay, so let's go. 7644. You live on Chopping It Up. 7644.
Oh yes, hello.
Yes, ma'am. You live on Chopping It Up.
What's up, Mr. Genie? Salam alaikum. And peace and greetings to everybody. All that good stuff. You don't remember me. I don't know you remember me. This is Majida from Brooklyn.
Hey, how you doing, sis?
I'm good. So glad to see you on the live. Thank you, Dr. Owens. I'm really appreciating what you're saying. I have a question in regards to and this is kind of maybe a long question, so maybe you can put it in the comments, right? In our in our ancestry and in indigenous African, cultures and where we come from, men, polygamy, whether we like it or not, was a part of our culture, way before anything else was instituted, right? Correct. So my question is, and the thing is now, fast forward to today, when you just compare numbers, right? There's a lot more women than men. A lot of brothers are locked up. A lot of brothers are homosexual, so on and so forth. So there's very few viable men to really go around for sisters, right? A lot of sisters are, single mothers. We all know what's going on out there. Long story short, in addition to what we're saying about like recultivating our men, our women, and rebirthing ourselves and getting through all the muck and everything that we've been through, do you think, or what is your take on a man being able to like rebirth himself or facilitate? What would be necessary for him to be that complementarity mate to more than one woman? That's my question. Thanks.
Thank you, sister. So she's saying, what qualifications does a man have to have? What is his character for him to be able to say, okay, polygamy is the answer for me? And for a woman to say, okay, if a woman is interested in doing that, she can say, okay, polygamy with this man is something that could work because he has these qualities.
One, he has to do his own work, his own rites of passage, formally and informally, as well as there has to be an agreement with the wife that he has currently, if he is married. Or that has to be an agreed process going into a marriage, that he is a polygamist.
But let's say, what kind of character? In other words, all the men, if they thinking about it from a sexual perspective, might say, oh, we all want to be polygamous. But from a perspective of a woman looking, what are the characteristics she should be looking for if you're going to say, okay, this man is a man who qualifies to be polygamous in a real kind of way? What are his qualities that he got to have?
Qualities would be, one, does he have a plan in terms of economics?
Okay.
That's one. That's very clear. Can you do that? Whether the wife or wives work or not, are you capable of having some type of economic plan to facilitate this? And where you're going to live? Whether it's on a compound where there are different houses, because some women don't want to be in one house. So what is the plan in terms of actualizing that? Another characteristic is in terms of the culture, whether it's from African culture, or some people pull from Islam, or some people pull from the Hebrew Israelite tradition. What is that culture that help undergird or have a framework for you to practice this? And it's not just sex. It's about raising children, having a certain character. Are you a protector? Can you protect these women? Really? Can you? And whether it's mentally, not just physically, spiritually. What is that plan as far as actualizing that? There's a lot to it. It's not for everyone. Just because, I can have sex with multiple women, have multiple wives, and it's an ego thing. No, you got to check that ego at the door. This is really about legacy and
nation building.
Yes, clan building.
Family power,
yes.
Empowerment.
And how are you going to impact, as we said earlier, 7 generations ahead?
About a legacy.
Do you have that ability to plan for not just your children, your grandchildren, your great-grand, and those after? What legacy do you want to leave?
So we're talking about a man with a plan, whose economic situation shows that he can fulfill the plan. He's responsible. This is not just any random dude out here smoking some weed. Say, hey, baby, look, let me. We can make this work.
Definitely no weed.
Put in the Superfly. Say, baby, Look, I got a
Super
plan.
fly
Look at
with the diamond in the back and all that. That is not but
Hey, baby, look at the
superficial
stars. We can make this thing
material
work. We can make it happen. I'm telling you, me, you, and all of us, we can
stuff.
do
And all
it.
of us, and all 10 wives. No, we going down the drain because there's no plan.
Okay.
There's nothing there. That's fluff.
Okay. So let's go to 1127. 1127, you live on Chopping It Up. If you could come in and ask a quick question or make a comment, we really appreciate it, my brother. West Side.
Peace, blessings to you, Brother Genie, and your guests. I have a quick question. I don't think no one asked this question today, but I think it goes with the male and female relationship, and that question is to the guests: What is your personal in your political views on brothers and sisters dating outside their race? And why I ask that is because I saw Brother Umar on the Breakfast Club and on TV One stating his position against interracial marriage. What's your stance?
My stance might get me kicked out of the studio.
It sure might. I'm nervous now. But you know what? We invite her in, so I'm gonna have to invite her in. So I gotta take what's coming.
Scientifically, genetically, there's only one race, it's the human race. Race is a social construct that we've made certain agreements, certain ethnic groups decided to be together and have certain expression. Dynamically, it's Aboriginal, indigenous people, and then there are Europeans or Caucasians. That's it. Now, we have, as people of color, been divided because of Europeans having a concerted effort to divide and conquer. In India, you have the Dravidians, and they're darker than you and I sitting here. And not
They
only,
hate us bitterly. They want to kill us.
bitterly. And,
Right.
and I had one Indian brother to come up to me because I guess he assumed because I had a garb on that I thought this way, in which I did. And he came up to me and you said, and his name is Dr. Nayak. Dr. Nayak, he's a PhD physicist. He said, you know I'm a black man. I'm from India, but I'm a black man because I know my ancestors came from Africa.
So let me ask you this.
So when people like that of different ethnic groups come together, we get stronger. But because we've used the party line of this, he hates me because I'm of African descent. He's darker than me. He thinks he's better than me. That is nothing but that Eurocentric influence that is keeping us divided as people of color. But generally, that's basically what it is.
So let me ask you this, because I think it goes more to his comment. Because I saw part of that thing on the Breakfast Club. So now, are you saying that Africans dating Europeans is okay?
I'm saying that people of color being together, not in terms of Europeans, no.
Okay, so I see. So we can do it, but you say there's a point at which it stops. Okay,
It stops.
So you say
I will come on record. I have will never date a European.
Okay, so.
But a person of color, yes.
Okay, so yeah, we do disagree on that. But I'll say this: my main point of contention would be like definitely with our history with Europeans, and I would probably say Arabs too. I just couldn't concede to it. But at this point, and when we talk about Arabs, we mostly talk about Europeans that happen to live over in that they're part of the world, the ones that run
They're
that.
Europeans.
So yeah, they're just Europeans, they're Asiatics, yeah.
Yes.
So
Right.
you're saying you do have a problem with that type of, or you don't think? Let me ask it differently. Do you think that that's the prime type of relationship for black people to be dating with Europeans? Let me ask even better. In conjunction, because I wanted to ask this earlier, and I think it goes to his point. How does it make a black woman feel to see a black man married to a white female or dating a white female?
Like we're not good enough. That they're better than us. And then when you look at it scientifically, and it's not anything racial, this is scientific, that there is a fact that that they're recessive in terms of their gene pool, and that's what it is. It's just science. But I prefer. I mean, as far as self-esteem, what have you, I prefer a black man. I prefer a man that looked like my father, a dark-skinned black man. So, but if the choice is not there, then a brother from another ethnic group, but of color.
Okay, so you saying,
Are you saying I need to leave the studio?
No, somebody out there. No, I ain't. Since they all the studio. No, I mean that was a shocking blow that I just took, but I'm the genie. I take these blows and I keep going. Hey, Doc, how you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great, brother. That's 15.
Yes, sir.
The other hand.
You took the other.
Good show. How you doing there?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you did. Yes, sir. So that's how we do it. Oh, man. You know what? This is a really good conversation. Tonight we're going to finish. Let me go back to my brother on the west side. Do you have anything else you want to say to my sister before we wrap up?
No. Other than that, this is a great program. I agree with most of what she's saying. Not entirely as far as the interracial dating, but. It's a great program, and she bringing a lot of good information to our people.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I'm glad you're still supporting out there on the west side, tuning in all times. I think it's really, really important, and we really appreciate you, brother. And you call all the programs, you participate, and it's because of people like you that Straight Black Pride is still alive, and we're going to make our way out. It didn't happen as fast as we wanted it to, but we're going to have a Straight Black Pride movement chapter on the West Coast too. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Peace.
All right. Straight Black Pride. All right. Well, brothers and sisters, this has been a dynamic pride. She looking at me like, am I going to be it?
I need an escort. I need a bodyguard.
No. We're going to be, now I will admit, I will be 100% honest. If she has said, yeah, we can date Europeans, I probably would say, okay, we're going to do it tonight, but don't bring that up tonight. And that might have been the last time we talked, but I think that might have been like, yes, have you talked to Sister? No, I haven't heard from her. I lost her number. I don't know. But no, I think that it's important that we're able to have disagreements, and even in this type of agreement, because again, there are limits. I wouldn't agree with any black person that's not African, black mother, black father, dating outside, because I'm trying to look down the line.
Right.
But for the purpose of the discussions we having, I don't think that really that, how do I want to say it? That is almost a different topic, because for the most part, most of us are black folks with black folks that are having these problems.
Right.
So that being the case, the solutions that you're offering and the perspectives that you're offering, in my opinion, are workable and useful and beneficial to any black person in a relationship with a black person, period.
Yeah.
And tonight, I want you to give people just a snapshot of what you're going to do tonight. We're starting at 6 o'clock, that you're going to present here for us in terms of repairing black male-female relationships. What are you going to bring to the table to talk to us about tonight?
Well, it's some of the similar information that I shared. I'll bring up some more of the theory or philosophy of into psychology. I'll talk about Dr. Edwin Nichols, who's an industrial psychologist, that talked about the difference between people of color and Europeans, and our value systems that set up a culture, and the importance of how culture roots and ground us, and some of the healing factors that's necessary for us to come up from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So look, brothers and sisters, get on out here at 6 o'clock. We're not going to actually start up to about 6:20 or 6:30. That's when people get off work and make their way out here. But this is going to be, I know, I said, look, I saw all the lines lit up and everything like that. I haven't talked to Sister Latrice in probably 15 years. So I know how big it is, but I don't know how to control the phone here, so she came through on the line. I wish if I'd had it do it again, I assume she was watching on the thing, and so she could just call back in on this line, but none of these numbers were her. I would have told her to call back in on that number now, because I definitely want to hear what she had to say, because the fact that I ain't heard her in that long and she had something to say, I really wish I could have gotten to hear what that was. So what I'm going to do, brothers and sisters, just remind me, next week, whenever we start, until I get used to this, send me a little thing on the thing. Remind me to turn off this phone here, because I don't know how to work this phone, and it just comes in automatically. I want people to come in through our main line, the way we tune in. But thank you for tuning in, and if you're out there, we're not going to do it on elifemedia.net tonight. Tonight it's going to be strictly on Facebook Live. So tune in tonight, Facebook Live, Irritated Genie Southeast page, and we're going to be having more conversation with the doctor. Are you going to do a PowerPoint for us?
PowerPoint.
Oh, wow. So she's going to do a PowerPoint presentation?
Show some videos as well.
Oh, man, I wish you'd have told me. You know what? Do I have time? You're going to show videos, but they need sound. Yeah. See, I didn't. You know what? No, you know what? I'll tell you what. We'll be able to make it do it. We're going to have sound and everything. We're going to have a full presentation this evening, and then we're going to talk. So come in, tune in about 6:10, 15, 6:20 tonight, brothers and sisters. We're going to start this thing. It's going to be phenomenal. Now, remember, every second Monday of every month, what we're doing is we're discussing black men, it's gender wars, ending the war between black males and black females. And I really feel like today we've taken a huge, both feet in, a step in terms of going that direction. And I feel like we're going to be taking a step and a half by going in tonight with a second part where this was just a back and forth, but she just giving us a little bit. Now, when we come back this evening, the sister's going to be able to actually show us her real presentation where she's saying, okay, look, I had to deal with Genie earlier today dealing with him, but let me talk to y'all for real. I'm coming directly to y'all right away and telling y'all this is, what the issues are that we facing with. Let me break it down, and I'm going to step back, sit in the back of the room, let her take over, and she's going to actually help us begin the process of looking at ourselves and what we can do better. And the beautiful part about it, how long do you think your presentation is going to be?
Less than an hour.
Oh, perfect. So she's going to go about an hour, which 6:30 is good. From 6:30 to 7:30. That means from 7:30 till 9 o'clock, we're going to have a whole window of opportunity for brothers and sisters who come out. And I'm going to try to see if I can look at it on Facebook while we're going live. If you got questions, you can ask your questions. So now we can actually start getting questions answered to how we can do it. You're dealing with a problem at home. You want to know, how do I work this out? You don't have to be on camera. We'll only keep the sister on camera. And you can ask your questions. Hey, I'm dealing with this, blah, blah, blah. Or I know someone, you know how we do it. I know someone who's dealing with this situation. And I don't know all the particulars, but this is what's going on. And I need help with it. And she'll help walk through possible ways we can resolve some of the issues we're dealing with black men and black women. So thank you for tuning in, brothers and sisters. It's been a phenomenal program. I hope if the sister Latrice is out there and listening, please send it through, put your information here, or send a message to Irritated Genie at Southeast. I want to get your question, so at least tonight I can ask your question tonight if I can. And with that said, is there any last parting shout you want to give to our people before we come on tonight? No. Could you tell them about the Empowerment Center?
Oh, yes. Empowerment Center, we're a nonprofit organization. We're based in Cheverly, Maryland. We also do work in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as well as in D.C. And we do rites of passage for young adults and teens, and we're going to do something with the adults as well starting this fall.
Beautiful.
We have an after-school program, and we do some other work in terms of life coaching and training and all of that. So.
Well, let me tell you, this is how beautiful it is. I just had a brother check in from Sudan. He's a Sudanese freedom fighter. When I say freedom fighter, I'm not talking about like a guy that's doing talking. I mean, on the ground freedom fighter. He's tuning into the program, and he's seeing a phenomenal program. So I want to let my Sudanese brother and all my Sudanese brothers and sisters out there know, I know what's happening. I know you probably don't, you better not be calling me no Arab. I'm telling you right now, if you're a Sudanese person anywhere in the world, just because you got that beautiful golden black god African almond skin, you better not be looking at me thinking I'm no Arab, because I don't like the Arabs no better than you do. I'm telling you, we know what y'all are coming through, and I've been doing the best that I can to organize some things so that we can get down there and get you some support down there so that you can get Sudan for the Sudanese, Africa for the Africans. So I know what you're dealing with. Love y'all, and appreciate my brother for tuning in. So with that said, brothers and sisters, tune in tonight. This is going to be phenomenal. I don't know if she has any more surprises for us, but I'm sure she does. And we're going to have a wonderful evening of discussion where we try to resolve these issues with the black man, black woman. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm going to end this program. I could have done it with Mind Cuffs, but I think I'm going to do this program and end it with my sister, Queen Jasira. Let me see. Come on up here. And this is Freedom. We did it live in concert right here in D.C.
How y'all doing?
So you got to free your mind, black man, black woman, black child. If you're tuning in on elifemedia.net, you're going to see Brian Lanier, the baddest saxophonist in the world today. I've actually seen the brother play 2 saxophones at the same time. And you listening to a band that's phenomenal. Brothers Keeper and Queen Jasira live in concert in Washington, D.C.
You didn't want me to know my own well. Oh, you tried to make me feel inferior. But now the light shines, revealing your lies, and I see myself through brand new eyes. How long do you think you can write us out of history? How long do you think you can call us a minority? What you have and do ain't new. My ancestors paved the way. We existed well before your cave dwelling days. All I had to do was look, and then I found the truth. In the truth I found me, and in me I got free. Oh, I tried so long, if being free is wrong, then I don't wanna be right. If I can't be myself, man, I'd rather just die. As a child, believe the unseen, my faith in mystery. Close my eyes, reveal the pain of insistent questioning, but answers never logical. See, reborn myself at 19, cut the invisible strings. My melanin protects me like an ancestral sunscreen, so let me be EFREE. I recognize that my enemy uses hate to disguise that he wants to be me. Black people know themselves, trace your history. Before slavery, we were kings and queens, so claim superiority. It's time to wake up and no longer be blind. It's time to break the chains they placed upon our minds. By controlling our minds, they don't worry about what we do. 'Cause controlling our minds means they control our actions too. Refuse to be a victim of their mental attacks. Take your power back today. You'll be on your way.
Y'all give Sister Josina a strong black hand. Yeah.
All right. That's chopping it up, brothers and sisters. Yes, it is. We done. All right, let me go ahead and turn this off.
Goodbye.
Yeah, people mad at me today.
let me turn this one off too. The live. Now
Oh,
let's
it's still
end
live?
it.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Let me do this one. Stop live. Pow.